turns it over. He thought he was fouled. Paul George goes and finishes. Millsap thought about a foul, but backed off.
When you've targeted a player like Marcus for the time we did, it allows you time to lay some groundwork. And so we're very fortunate to be able to acquire him.
Who was always playing for the right reasons. Wants to win every single night. And you also always have a chance when Paul George is making shots like that.
Second was to Marcus Morris. It didn't work out in July. It's worked out perfectly here in February, and the Clippers are stacked for a nice little run as Paul George knocks down a little 15-foot.
Paul George with the three-pointer.
Steal it and save it to Patrick Patterson. There's George, last time in this arena, scored 46 points, off to a pretty good start.
George got it! Beverly with the rebound. Here's George. Another three for George.
Over. Williams to George. Off glass, and welcome to the family, Paul George.
That was a nice play right there.
George with a hand in his face. That's a three. Paul George from down.
Hard hooping defensive team that looks to run it. They look like that team right now. Keep playing out of the timeout. And Paul George.
Hey,
shot make.
they come down and give it to Paul George. We come down and give it to Jarrett Culver versus Towns, Covington, and Wiggins.
And that time we gave it to Terrence Mann on the turnover. George converts. He's now got 30 points. Time and containing these two players has not yet surfaced here in this third quarter.
He moves to his left.
You like this matchup if you're Paul George.
Does he like it? He cashes in. The Clippers by 5.
Spots with his third rebound. Zoo's line here, multitasking. 5 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Gets a screen assist on the previous possession and gets another screen assist. Paul George with back-to-back 3.
This time shoots over him. This time knocks it down. 15 points here in the first half for George.
But he maintains the dribble.
Creating space for 3. 6 threes for Paul George.
7 10-point leads this season. They've won every one of those games.
And there they go again. Nice deflection right there.
And the pull-up from downtown for Paul George. He is not disappointed. 13 for
in. Right now, a 7-point game. Paul George banks it home as the shot clock expires.
10-point game. George strokes home a three-pointer, and the lead is up to 13.
Prize pickups for the Jazz. The front office continues to do a great job in Salt Lake, but he is out. Hasn't really found his rhythm. Here's a guy looking for his rhythm and perhaps found it there. A 3 by Paul George.
For the Clippers, 29. George. Oh, what a pretty move that was.
Really no Kawhi Leonard, both expected back to the lineup on Saturday. Here is George knifing his way to the rim and lays it in.
That paid off for the Clippers.
Oh my. 25% on the year. George stops on a dime, mid-range shot and root, and he knocks it in.
It's in a 104-81 loss. George feeling good, gets around his defender. Oh, he had him backpedaling and lays it in.
The Clippers coming the other way. Paul George contested by Covington, gets a finish anyway.
What a finish.
George, 2-man game with Zubats. Calls his own number. Gets to the rim with a right hand and lays it in.
This year, that is exactly what you want him to do, especially early on in the clock, and that's exactly what you want that guy to do. Paul George rips the cords and shows.
Now 1 for 4 to open up all of his shots outside the paint.
George for 3, and the Clippers have made their last 5 shots. They lead by 5, 17-12.
Minute and a half left here in what has been an intense first couple of quarters. Paul George goes and banks it home. You guys were remarking during the last time out just how hard both these teams are playing for him.
Clippers led by as many as 12, but a nice run at the end of the first by Minnesota. Wiggins with 12, Towns with 11 as Harrell pushes it down.
And a rough way to open up for Golden State. George on a ball fake out of the timeout. Fade away, book it.
That's one way that Paul George has scored effectively in this league for a long time.
Montrezl Harrell has come on for the Clippers. Well, the best bench in the NBA. George, nice hesitation. He got hit. And he'll go to the line for the three-point play.
First half. And the Clippers lead by 6. George for another 3. Same result. And the Clippers now beginning to smolder to close out.
5 shots tonight. He's 4 for 5. George drives in on Gabe. Puts it off the window and in. He wants a whistle. He's not going to get it.
He will fire from anywhere, as you just seen.
Lead trimmed into single digits. Paul George spots an entry to the rim. Hit hard. Counted and a foul and send him to the line. Gets his first rebound. Throws it away. George gets it back with Oubre to beat it. He flushes it in. And stares him down after the flush. George, the drive to the rim. Yes.
The Clippers have numbers if they push. To George, to the cup. Oh my! Look out below! Paul George with points 16 and 17.
Pick off by stepping up into the passing lane, and then this is a wind-up throw it down by Paul George.
George, pump fake, then pulls the trigger. He gets 3 more. Paul George looks terrific today, 24.
Patrick Beverley made a great rotation, stepped up to take the charge, and Morant went straight up and came straight down.
George for the lead. Got it!
This team, this Denver team, they have some resolve now. They will not go away. They'll continue to keep playing.
George from 15, the fadeaway flick is good. Clippers by 11.
And here, he's going to have to keep this up.
But this is who he was all of last year. Counted on a foul and send him back to the line.
Three on the way is good by George. He's got 11.
And you've got to know that he's going to look to shoot the basketball. Now he's found a game.
This team goes with Donovan Mitchell. So, for me, he needs to be an all-star.
Level Larceny. Here's George. Takes it to the house and punches it in with the right hand.
Donald may shoot more mid-range jump shots than anybody in the league.
George again, 7 threes, and the Clippers lead 84-65.
Easy when you're happy. You know, it's easy when you're happy. You're in a nurturing, good environment, and that's no indictment on anybody, but this NBA is like that.
In terms of points scored together, they've only gotten better. How about a turnover? Here comes Paul George. Oh, my! He covered a lot of ground. George and Leonard play catch late in the clock for Paul George.
It's their decision-making when they do so.
Paul George launches a 3 and rattles out of that last March here against the Knicks. Clippers get the rebound. Here comes Montrez. Down the lane and down the hatch it goes. T.J. McConnell is back on the bench. Joining T.J. Leaf. George, wraparound pass to Zubats, and he leaves it in. Counted on a foul. Give him one more on the house.
It's funny you say that. I mean, you got 3 guys that are motivated to really come out here and play well today.
The step away from Paul George, the Los Angeles Clippers. Paul George is out there. He's only played 18 minutes. Swings a 3. He has 6 threes tonight.
Harden beat Beverley off the dribble. George on a 2-on-1 took it the length of the court.
Manufacturing points obviously is a challenge right now.
Harrell from George.
Danger zone. Yeah, they're going to use another one quick here.
5-2 start for Sacramento. They lost last night at home in the capital city as Paul George lays.
Gallo historically has always been a really good first half, first quarter player, so you got to do a good job on him early on.
Paul George continues to smolder, and I don't know what else you can say about him. George. How about the handle? Cradles the ball to the rim, counted it.
For Lillard. George for 3. Paul George.
For the Clippers, well, the best bench in the NBA. George, nice hesitation. He got hit.
And admire LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis.
but I have every right to feel like I can very well be the best player on a given night.
It's crazy. I don't even get surprised by it, though, anymore. Here's Paul George, down the lane, down the hatch, counted on a foul.
When you play down.
George spins away from Drummond, gets the contact, counted on a foul, and give him one more on the house. George showing off the handles, and then shows off the touch. He added more three-point shooting. It could happen. George, a step-away three. On cue, 69 to 43.
Have active hands with speed. You can get out in transition early for your team.
George cradles the ball. Down the lane, down the hatch it goes for Paul George.
I tell you, always in the corner. I mean, he does a good job of positioning himself like that.
Paul George is alone for the breakaway, goes up on the right hand and stuffs it through. And so the Clippers try to regain some of that momentum.
This is a Timberwolves team that is playing free and has a ton of confidence. What a strong drive by Paul George.
He comes away with rebound number 4. Clippers looking for the lead. George to the rack, reverse layup. Oh my! Reorganizes in mid-flight, lays it up and in, counted on a foul.
Of course, he's willing to give it up. He changes gears, Paul George, and finishes.